Look closely at this girl. Her name was Sonia. She was 7 months pregnant when the man she loved betrayed her in the most brutal way. Strangled with a mobile charger, buried in the dark, her unborn child never had a chance. This isn't just a murder. It's a horrifying tale of love, lies, and betrayal you'll never forget. For Sonia Kumari, making Instagram Reels wasn't just a hobby. It was her only hope of changing her life. She didn't just dream big. She needed those dreams to come true. Sonia came from a family where survival itself was a daily struggle. Her parents were migrants from Bihar who had moved to Delhi in search of work, settling in a small rented home in Nangloi, West Delhi. Her father sold cattle feed, and her mother worked as a domestic help, house to house, day after day. Due to financial constraints, Sonia had to drop out of school after class 10. But despite that, she never gave up on her ambitions. She wanted to lift her family out of poverty. She wanted a home of her own, and she believed that social media could be her way out. So she made a decision: she would become a social media influencer. Using her small savings, she bought a smartphone, and while her parents were out working, Sonia took care of the house, finished all the chores, and then dedicated the rest of her day to filming Instagram Reels. She was confident that if she kept posting consistently, her following would grow and eventually lead to paid opportunities. Sometimes she would travel across Delhi, shooting reels at popular spots like Connaught Place. And slowly, the results started to show. Her follower count started climbing. Sonia even began learning tailoring so she could design and stitch her own outfits for the videos. In short, Sonia had decided she was going to make it, no matter what. Her reels reached beyond 1,000 followers, and it felt like things were finally starting to fall into place. But fate had other plans. Just as Sonia's dreams were taking flight, something, or someone, entered her life and turned her story upside down. This wasn't a ghost story from a horror movie. But in her life, a ghost did appear. Sonia was now completely immersed in the world of social media. In her eyes, it was the only key to change her destiny. Around a year ago, when she was about 19, someone stepped into her life. They fell in love, and that mysterious person, her secret boyfriend, was whom she lovingly called Boot. Yes, Ghost. Not the kind from horror films. This was a real person. But to her, he was her secret, her obsession. At first, Sonia kept this relationship hidden from her family, but over time, she began posting pictures with him on Instagram. She didn't reveal much, but his presence was clear, and Sonia, madly in love, seemed completely consumed by him. At that age, love can sometimes take over everything, and for Sonia, it did. Her behavior started to change. Her sister and mother noticed. They didn't know who the boy was, where he lived, or what he did, but they knew Sonia was in love. And every time they asked, she gave the same vague reply. His name is Boot. She would spend hours on the phone with him, her posts, her stories, even her contact name for him. Everything was Boot. She was living in a world where only he existed. But this obsession, this love, was slowly pushing her toward a heartbreaking end. By August 2024, her mother, Rajni Devi, noticed something strange. Sonia, who usually couldn't stay home for more than a few hours, had suddenly stopped going out altogether. And what happened after that was something no one in Sonia's family could have ever imagined. But soon, Sonia began falling ill more frequently. Her symptoms were unusual, too unusual for a regular fever or stomach bug. Concerned, her family finally took her for a medical checkup. And the moment the test reports came in, their worst suspicions turned into a cold, undeniable truth. Their 20-year-old daughter, Sonia, was 5 months pregnant. That's where the story begins to take a dangerous turn. From here, what unfolds is no love story. It's a tragedy. But before we talk about how this nightmare began to unravel, let's go back and understand the relationship Sonia had hidden for so long. About 61 weeks ago, roughly 15 months, Sonia had posted a story on Instagram. That's likely around the time she met the boy who would change the course of her life. She called him Sanju, her Boot, as a nickname. He was a boy from Haryana living with his family just a few lanes away from Sonia's house in a rented home. Their connection grew quickly. By Diwali of 2023, Sonia had already dedicated an entire reel to him, declaring her love openly on Instagram. Both of them were barely 19 or 20, still teenagers. But in Sonia's eyes, Sanjo was already her husband. 1 year ago, she posted a story calling him my hubby. 10 months ago, she uploaded a photo with the same caption. Sonia, now 7 months pregnant, by then, her secret was no longer a secret. Sonia had confessed everything to her family. Sonju was the father of her unborn child. She said she had accepted him as her husband in every way and wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. Sanju, on the other hand, had told Sonia a very different story. He claimed that though he lived with his parents, older brothers, and their wives, he was completely isolated from them, that they had disowned him and he was unwanted in his own home. As Sonia's delivery date neared, she became more and more excited to start a new life with Sanju. Despite the fact that there had been no marriage, Sonia still celebrated Karva Chauth for him in October 2024, fasting for the boy she had already accepted as her husband. Karva Chauth is one of India's most cherished festivals, where a wife observes a day-long fast and offers prayers in the evening, wishing for the health, happiness, and long life of her husband. Her parents were stunned. Their teenage daughter was not only pregnant out of wedlock, but behaving like a married woman, performing rituals and preparing to leave home. But they eventually gave in. Maybe they felt helpless. Maybe they thought accepting her choice was the only way to protect her. And then everything changed. On the early morning of October 23rd, 2024, the day after Karva Chauth, Sonia quietly packed all her belongings. At 4 a.m., she left the house. Before walking out, she told her sister something chilling. Sanju's mother will never accept me, so we're going to start a life on our own. By 5 a.m., Sonia's mother, Rajni Devi, woke up and realized Sonia was gone. Panic set in. She tried calling her daughter, but Sonia's phone was switched off. A few hours later, the phone finally rang, but it wasn't Sonia. It was a boy's voice, calm, cold, emotionless. I'm Sanju. Your daughter hates you all. She doesn't want to talk to anyone. Stop calling her. Rajni Devi begged him, pleaded to at least let her speak with her daughter, but Sanju refused. He said Sonia didn't want any contact, and then he cut the call. The entire day passed with no sign of Sonia. No messages, no proof she was okay. Her family kept calling, desperate to hear her voice, but no one answered. And then, that night, at 11 p.m., something horrifying happened. Sonia's brother, Manish, tried calling again. Sanju picked up. Same words, same attitude. But this time, Manish heard something in the background, multiple voices, and then a sentence. Whispered, but clear enough to chill his blood. Dig it deeper. That's when the fear truly sank in. A fear that this wasn't just about a runaway girl anymore. Her family rushed to Nangoi police station to file a missing complaint, but shockingly the police refused. Their response? She's an adult. She left on her own. We can't do anything. Left alone, Sonia's family decided to take matters into their own hands. They started digging. Who exactly was this boy their daughter left everything for? And what they found shook them to the core. His name wasn't Sanju. His real name was Salim. When Sonia's family confronted his relatives, they simply washed their hands of the matter. Oh, he doesn't live here anymore. We've disowned him. He's not our responsibility. No help from the family, no help from the police, no trace of Sonia. It was as if she had vanished. And then on October 23rd, 2024, 2 days after Sonia had left home, her brother Manish got a call from Paskim Vihar police station. A police officer informed him that they had stopped a boy who was driving a car without a number plate. And what they discovered in that car, that's where this case takes its darkest turn. At first glance, it seemed like a routine traffic stop. Just a boy driving a car without a number plate. But when the police searched the vehicle, they found something that made them pause. Documents and Aadhaar cards, one belonging to Sonia, the other to her father. That's when alarm bells started ringing. The documents Sonia had carried with her when she left home were now found with this boy. Her brother, Manish, rushed straight to Nangloy police station and informed the officers. Upon hearing the update, a police team was immediately dispatched to Pashim Vihar, where the boy had been detained. They brought him back to Nangwai, and when they asked his name, he admitted it. It was him, Salim, the same boy Sonia had trusted with her entire life, the one she knew only as Sanju. At first, Salim tried to lie. He said Sonia didn't want to keep in touch with anyone anymore, that she had left everything behind of her own will. But the police weren't buying it. They decided to treat Salim to a different kind of hospitality, the kind that makes even the most stubborn tongues loosen. And soon, the truth began to spill out. What came next was a horrifying confession, a tale of betrayal, manipulation, and cold-blooded murder. On the morning of October 21st, Sonia had left home with all her belongings. Salim picked her up in a rented car just as planned. But what Sonia didn't know was that this wasn't just a ride to freedom. It was a trap. Along the way, Salim picked up two of his friends, Pankaj and Ritik. Together, the four of them headed towards Rohtak. During the drive, Sonia started pressuring Salim again about marriage. She had left everything for him, her home, her family, her dignity, and now she was pregnant. All she wanted was to build a life together. But Salim had no intentions of marrying her. He had been making excuses for months, telling her to wait, to be patient. Sonia had reached her limit. She told him she wouldn't back down. This time they had to get married. And that's when the argument started. The car was somewhere between Bahadurgarh and Rohtak on the highway when the fight escalated. Sonia was firm. She wanted answers. Salim knew this day would come, and he had already prepared for it, because all of this was part of his meticulously planned trap. To calm her down, Salim promised Sonia he would marry her that night. And to celebrate, he took her and his friends to a party in Rohtak. Sonia believed him. They laughed, drank, and danced. She thought her dream was finally coming true. But while she celebrated her future, Salim and his friends were planning her end. After the party, the three men, Salim, Pankaj, and Ritik, drove to a remote area near Medina village, about 20 kilometers from Rohtak. It was dark, deserted, and silent. The perfect place to make someone disappear. What happened there is something no one, no parent, no human should ever have to imagine. Sonia was 7 months pregnant. She was tired, excited, nervous, but above all, she was in love. And that night, the man she loved turned into a monster. The three of them brutally beat her. They didn't care that she was carrying a child. They didn't care that she was pleading for her life. Then, using a mobile phone charger cable, they strangled her to death. It was around 11 p.m., the same time Sonia's brother Manish had tried calling her, when he heard a voice in the background saying, "Dig it deeper." They were digging a 4-foot-deep grave right there in the middle of nowhere. And after murdering Sonia, they buried her, like trash. By the next morning, they had returned to Delhi, acting like nothing had happened. No one would have suspected a thing. The person Sonia thought was her forever had erased her from existence. And the worst part, he didn't even feel remorse. Salim told the police everything, from the fake identity to the plan to kill her. He admitted that Sonia had been putting pressure on him to marry her. He didn't want to. He even asked her to abort the baby, but she refused. She was determined to keep the child and start a family. And that's when he decided that Sonia had to go. He confessed that his entire relationship was a lie. He wasn't Sanju, he wasn't Hindu. Everything had been a performance. He wore a kada, steel bangle on his wrist. Sometimes when visiting Sonia, he would even apply a tilak on his forehead. He celebrated Hindu festivals with her family. He fooled everyone, including Sonia. Neighbors told the police they often saw him visiting Sonia's house, especially when she was alone. He had gained her trust, one step at a time. And in the end, he used that trust to destroy her. One thing is crystal clear. Salim's intention with Sonia was purely physical. He wanted nothing but to satisfy his lust. To achieve that, he pretended to love her, promised marriage, and gained her trust, which led to her pregnancy. The ghost Sonia loved turned out to be nothing but a demon who never truly cared for her. Unfortunately, despite many efforts, we were unable to find any pictures of the other two accomplices, Pankaj and Ritik. So far, all the accused have been arrested. Sonia's family is shocked because just a few days ago, Salim's family was talking about disowning him due to his disrespectful behavior. Now they seem to be doing everything to protect him. When asked, they said they want the death penalty, but then why are they trying to save their son? Maybe Salim staged the disowning drama so that Sonia could never go to his home or find out his true identity. Sonia is no longer with us, but this case leaves an important lesson for all girls who blindly give everything for love. Just because you feel a connection or have intentions in your heart, it doesn't mean the other person feels the same. In today's world, many wear masks to deceive. That doesn't mean you should distrust everyone around you, but it's crucial to pause and take time before moving forward in any relationship. As I've said before, time is your best friend in such situations. Please be observant, vigilant, and conscious. Sometimes a little pause can clear the fog over reality. Just like you can't see your reflection clearly in boiling water, when emotions and feelings are boiling inside your heart and mind, it becomes hard to see the truth. That's when people like Salim take advantage. By the time you realize, the moment has already slipped away like smoke. So that was today's case. Take care of yourself, and we'll meet again with the next case.